Welcome to the Let's Stay Healthy radio show, sponsored and brought to you by Montana Harvest Natural Food Store in Billings, Montana. If you don't spend time on your wellness, you're going to be forced to spend time on your illness. Your health is your most valuable asset. Invest in it by tuning in now.
Welcome everybody to Let's Stay Healthy. Michael Ray here with you from Montana Harvest. I'm here with Kimmy Oliver, one of the owners from Montana Harvest, and we have a special guest on with us today, Steve Harkins from North American Urban Spice, one of my favorite guys, and we love your company. And off there, we were kind of talking about some of the new products that you come out. So you got to talk about that on the show today, and we'll just kind of jump right into it, Stephen.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you both again. You're looking nice and healthy.
So are you.
Appreciate it.
You're younger looking than your voice sounds.
Oh, that's good. That's probably a good thing.
I have to give you a bad time. So I was going to ask you just do some of the basics, but I mean, what does the P73 stand for? I've always wanted to ask you that.
That's a very good question. That's definitely an FAQ we get. And it's funny you ask because we just posted a video on our Instagram yesterday answering that question. So you can get the official company answer there. But I would just say the P, well, basically the idea was to have a distinguishment between our brand and everyone else. And for those who weren't around, I was barely around, 30 plus years ago. Miss Judy, our founder, she was the first to put olive oil and oregano oil together in an edible form. And so she wanted to make something that would people would see us and know that it was us. So P73 is that moniker. Now, P stands for purity, potency, and phenolic power. And the 73 is the average, because we don't standardize, so it's not always 73, but there is a range of carvacrol percentage, carvacrol being that very important compound responsible for a lot of the health benefits of the oregano. And so it ranges somewhere between 68 and 80% carvacrol naturally occurring. And then also the other interesting thing is something that's very different with us is other brands, they just use one species of oregano. We use about 4 different species because we've studied all the different ones. There's over 60 different species on the planet. And there were 4 that we found that had the highest purity, potency, phenolic power. And so that's what it is. It's a blend of those species.
Oh, that's really interesting because obviously an excellent product, and it's the only one I take. I know about Kimmy. Which one do you take?
Oh, the P73. In fact, my grandmother was the one who introduced me. She's like, this is the only oregano
Your grandma did?
that to use. They used it topically a lot, but also took it internally. But your guys' brand is the only wild crafted, wild harvested that I'm aware of.
Yes. And you always have to listen to grandma, and she knows best. We've had people that have been using our products since about the early 90s when we came out, and it's always good to hear from those people. And to answer your question, yes, it is hand harvested in the mountains, elevations between 6,000 and 12,000 feet. There is no farm operation. So there's no greenhouse, there's no farmers. It's just grown on its own in the wild, and it's a perennial, so it does grow back every year.
Do you ever take volunteers to go harvest?
I'm still on the waiting list myself. I will say, it's very remote. It's in that southern mountain region of Turkey. Miss Judy herself visited last year, so she set foot. So she's still going over there and checking everything, making sure it's still viable. But we've been working with some of the same partners in that region for 3+ decades.
No, that's great. You guys have a great company and good products. I don't think there's anything better out there in the market. But I noticed that I wanted to kind of talk to you today about this. I know Kimmy will be interested in too, but your new liver products, and then you have a heavy metal cleanse too. Could you kind of touch on them and talk about them, especially the liver ones? I'd like to try those.
Well, I want to make sure we're on the same page about which product. So there's because we have a few different products for the liver. We have our purely liver capsules, but those are beef liver. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring with.
Oh,
And then we also have a liver cleanse oil that we
right.
do with different spice oils. And then we have our total body purge, which I think is a product you guys have been carrying for a while. That's really our premier multi-spectrum detox kind of product. So because our most recent product we came out with was a collagen powder, and before that was magnesium. So I'm not sure if I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Well, the liver cleanse that actually,
The
I think
oil in the capsules.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a product called Liver Cleanse, which it's actually an oil and capsule system. And those are primarily powered by different spice oils like cumin and also oregano, which help with detox of the liver, supporting bile flow, and just general cleansing, detoxification, blood sugar as well.
Can you take that with like the whole body purge or the liquid purge?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the total body purge is kind of like a primer because it's more of a temporary thing. So, total body purge is 12 ounces. It's got everything except for the kitchen sink in terms of detoxification. So, whether you have a heavy metal or a parasite or a toxin, or you just don't know what's going on, you can take that 1 ounce a day, like a shot glass, for 12 days. And that's really the first layer of detox. And then from there, you can take the liver capsules, the liver cleanse capsules and oil, and you can do that ongoing as a
Hmm.
maintenance. And
What
so they
about the
do.
pills?
So the yeah, and that's also kind of a preference because some people the spice oil taste can be a little spicy. And so you may want to do the soft gels where you don't taste it, but you get all the same benefits. And so that's really an either or. Um, it's up to you how you want to do it. I like the oil. I kind of prefer tasting it and feeling it. But there's a lot of people. It's more of a convenience factor for capsules.
Could you, not to change the subject too much, but could you go over the benefits of the P73 oregano? And oregano is what you guys call it, the product, right?
Yeah, oregano,
Hmm.
P73 oregano is where you'll see where you can find it. And the benefits, that's another FAQ. Just to give you an overview, if we were to just put it in categories, immune support, one of the best things for supporting immune support needs of all kinds, of all levels. And then, of course, you can use it for respiratory support as well because it's so good at helping you to expel mucus, to break things up, to get things out. It's a purgative by nature. The other one it's good for and helping you breathe. Another one it's good for is digestion. So, if this could be a chronic situation where you've had digestion problems and gut issues for a long time, and it supports microbial balance, and that's so important for gut health. It could also be acute. Let's say you ate something that you shouldn't have, you're traveling somewhere, you're eating a potluck at church, and you got this mystery meat or something going on, and you start to feel like something's not right. If you hit the oregano early, you could actually potentially avoid a trip to the toilet or calling out sick the next day. I know it's saved me a lot of different times, so I travel with it quite a lot. Another and two other areas I think I would hit on. One that's very underestimated is inflammation support. We often don't think about oregano oil as helping us with our aches and being a soothing aid, but topically and internally, it can be used. So we've had people that have, pain in their toes like gout, and we've had people with pain in their hands like arthritis kind of things, and they rub it on topically, and it's almost like a topical morphine, but herbal, and you actually get circulation from that as well. So it's great for inflammation at large, internal and topical. And then also the skin, because the antioxidant content of oregano is so high. I'm always saying this, but I feel like a broken record, but it's 100x the antioxidant levels of blueberries. gram for gram. And so it's very therapeutic. Antioxidant, think about that as anti-aging. You want to protect the skin. And so putting it topically, whether it's in our cream or in our oil, really helps the skin. So I mean, I've seen people use it with any kind of breakouts on the face, or just sometimes you don't know what's going on, but you've been exposed to something in the environment, and it's and also insects and ticks. I know you guys are in Montana, so the bugs, they don't like the smell of essential oils. And oregano is one of those things that has a natural repellent effect. So a lot of uses.
Well, the problem with putting that on your skin is nobody wants to come close to you. So
Yeah.
you gotta make sure you're outside in the outdoors, and chase the bugs off. But will that burn your skin if you put too much on it?
No, and because it's a good question, because it has the olive oil carrier, it will not burn the skin. Now, there are certain areas that are more sensitive than others where the nerve endings are. So, you're like on your face, you're going to feel that warming sensation for a minute or two, but then it goes away. It is completely harmless. I definitely want to keep it away from the eyes, and definitely want to keep it away from the growing area. And if you do that, you'll be absolutely fine. But arms, legs, neck, even babies, right? So I have a 2-year-old daughter at home, and from the time she was born and we took her from the hospital, we've been putting it on the bottoms of her feet, just because it's so good for immunity, gets into those pores, helps support the lymphatic system. She's too young to take it under the tongue just yet, but we're already getting her started, and it's safe for her topically there.
That's interesting.
Well, and Dr. Ingram used to recommend too, if somebody was struggling with a ailment or cold, flu, to rub it on their spine.
Absolutely, right? Because that's where a lot of the spirochetes and the different uh, infections can be harbored at. So rubbing the spine, and I know he also talks about the shins, because you have some lymphatic activation there too, is so helpful proactively or reactively if you feel something going on.
Yeah, it's amazing.
But do you have like a heavy metal cleanse?
We do. Our two big ones is the total body purge, which we mentioned. That would be one of them because it has the cilantro in there, and it also has the wild greens, dandelion, burdock, nettles. And then we have a capsule that also has some bentonite clay uh, type uh, ingredient, so that helps neutralize, the heavy metal. And then magnesium is another one that we do to actually help naturally chelate, because magnesium competes for the receptor sites of heavy metals. So we also like to incorporate our magnesium product with that. Those are the big ones that we use for heavy metals being such a huge problem in our society.
With the total body purge, a 12-day detox, do you really think that that's long enough?
That's
With
a good question.
everything that everybody's bombarded every day from the air, the water, the food we're consuming, the products we're utilizing. Would you extend that for like a full month or?
Honestly, for most people, I think so. And it depends. I would ask them, when was the last time you did a detox? If they have no clue, you should do it. Now, if you are detoxing yourself as often as you do an oil change for your car, then you are in good standing. So if you're every season, if seasonally is a good thing, right? So if we're going into a spring season now, it's a good time to do a detox. If you did that, then when you go to the summer, you do one then, and so on. So about 4 times a year, you quarterly, if you're doing it, all you need is those 12 days, because you're getting that consistency. If you're someone who is clearly presenting multiple signs of toxicity, and you've had this going on for years, and you may also have some weight issues you're trying to work on, for those people, we would even say to double up. We might even say, hey, get 2 bottles, do 1 ounce twice a day, do that for the 12 days, and then, see how you're feeling after that. And you may need to continue to do that. I mean, definitely, even myself, right? I consider myself to be healthy. I'm younger. I try to, eat the right things, but it would be a mistake in my own opinion, if I skipped a detox. It's like we don't skip it for our cars. So, we should be more consistent, and that's the key.
What's the
Sometimes you
big
need more.
difference between the liquid and then the capsule form?
So it's actually different formula. So the liquid, has apples, everything from apple cider vinegar. It also has black seed oil, which can target parasites, cleansing specifically. And also, of course, it has things like cumin and cilantro. We know how good cilantro is for heavy metals. And then when you go into the capsules, our total body purge capsules, those have that actually has some dandelion root powder specifically, and then it also has cat's claw, and it also has psyllium husk, which can scrub like a brush the lining of your intestines. Anything stuck there that shouldn't be there, it kind of moves it out. And also the bentonite clay, which is very good at neutralizing the toxins and heavy metal.
Well, it also talks about cleaning out the lymphatic system on the bottle, I believe. So what in there is doing that, cleaning out the lymphatic system?
Well, the spice oils are the best, that's the best mechanism that's in there for that. So, like and you get that with both. So cumin, oregano, um, you also get some fennel in the liquid in the total body purge. So anything that's a spice oil is a natural lymphatic, as well as blood cleansing effect.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the idea of detoxing with the seasons because that's something that we promote, just because we can't control everything that we're bombarded with. I think there's over 81,000 different chemicals that we're bombarded with. And then if you look at all the heavy metals in the air, in the water, in the food, arsenic, lead, cadmium, aluminum, mercury. I mean, we're just bombarded from every direction. So doing a detox quarterly is awesome because it's like what you said, you maintenance your car, you have to maintenance your own filtration systems within your own body.
Absolutely. And what you said is not an exaggeration or a hyperbole at all. We are constantly bombarded, through the water, air, and food. With food alone, there's over 9,000 different food additives in our country, more than anywhere else. You can't always be 100% filtering your water. Even the best water filters still have some things that come through, and that accumulates. And that's the danger with heavy metals. It accumulates. It's a lifetime risk. So if you are consistent, be on the offense, don't be on the defense. Be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, I like that. You got to talk about the black seed oil because that's Kimmy's favorite
Oh yeah.
subject. And talk about the benefits because it has so many benefits that we don't
Oof.
realize. And it's something that people should be taking on a daily basis.
Everyone needs black seed oil in their lives, and you cannot afford not to have it. I always say to health food stores when we do trainings that every person walking through your doors can benefit in some way from this black seed oil, and many people in multiple ways. So if you take the average American person, we know that over 73% of Americans are overweight or obese. And we know that metabolic dysfunctions, I think I saw Dr. Mark Hyman mention that over 83% of people in America have some kind of dysfunction in their metabolism. That's where black seed really shines, because when we talk about the average person, right, average American, overweight, probably has some blood sugar, insulin problems, probably dealing with blood pressure issues, imbalances, cholesterol, not exactly in the place it needs to be, maybe a more LDL oxidized, not a good thing. Maybe they need to get their HDL up more, and inflammation usually, and this could all be the same person dealing with all of these things. Black seed oil addresses every single one. There are points of research speaking to every single one. Just the weight situation alone, very promising. There are a number of human studies it's only from 2018, 2019, so this is fairly new. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but They took 1 to 2 teaspoons of black seed oil a day, which is very easy to do. And they did it for 8 weeks. And they didn't even exercise. Maybe some did, I don't know, but they don't mention exercise in the study. They all of their BMI went down. So BMI went down, blood sugar balanced, blood pressure balanced, inflammation down, um, and just the weight situation, total weight down. That's what the studies say. So we're not making a claim. There is no magic pill. You should live a healthy lifestyle. But if you're including black seed oil, all you need is 1 to 2 teaspoons a day. You could be addressing all of those things at once. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more. We
Yeah.
mentioned the parasite cleanse. It's excellent for the liver. It's excellent for kidney function, inflammation. And then the other thing is too, how much autoimmune problems do we see on the rise? More than ever. And it's mostly affecting women, but it can affect everyone. And we're even seeing teenage girls with autoimmune problems that we never used to see. And I think they're coming up with new names all the time. And what's that going, friendly fire, immune system attacking itself, and you need an immunomodulatory approach. I love oregano. It can be aggressive for very sensitive immune systems. Black seed oil becomes a really good idea because it's immunomodulatory. And so you can use that. We've even seen people use it during pregnancy and nursing. It is a galactagogue, which I know is a strange word, but it helps stimulate milk and lactation from the mammary glands, and it can support immune system health during pregnancy. So I love the versatility of black seed oil, and not everybody loves the taste, but you can mix it with honey. That's one of the more interesting things I've seen. You can mix it with raw honey, and you can get even additional benefits with
Well,
that.
and you can swish it around in your mouth, and it's excellent for gum health and oral hygiene. You can use it topically. In fact, I used it on our two. She's now two. We have a 2-year-old as well.
Oh,
But when she was first born, she had a severe diaper rash, and it was because of the vernix that I didn't get it all cleaned up. She was born at home, and I didn't realize she had vernix left, and it kind of left her raw and kind of like a diaper rash. And I was trying breast milk and minerals like the Derma Boost on it. I was trying all kinds of things to help heal it, and nothing seemed to be working. And then I was like, ah, duh, black seed. So I poured black seed on it, and within like a day and a half, 2 days, it was cleared up and healed.
yeah, it is
And then
amazing.
after I shared that story, a customer called. She's like, I heard you on the radio talking about the black seed, and my son has a like cyst on his back, and they had tried everything. So she had to call and tell me she tried the black cumin seed oil on it, and sure enough, it helped get rid of that cyst on his back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just to put it out there, we also have a cream that we make, a black seed cream, which has some other things with black seed, like lavender, also chaga is in there. And we've used that for diaper rash as well. And, it's very easy to do and completely pure and so good for the skin.
Yeah, black seed oil is like one of my favorite oils ever, but it acts like an oil change for your body.
Yeah.
Because if you think about all the adulterated oils that people are consuming through their diet, if you go out to a restaurant, you're
Oh, so bad.
bound to be consuming adulterated seed oils that are highly reactive, inflammatory, and they want to cling on to your liver. And so when you consume a nutritional oil that is anti-inflammatory, has all the, benefits that black seed does, it acts like an oil change, and it will go in and displace the bad oils that you've consumed that are highly reactive, cause inflammation, oxidative stress, free radical damage, and the black cumin seed oil can kind of like neutralize that. I
Yes.
mean,
And
obviously you want to stop the intake.
that goes back, harkens back to the metabolic situation that everybody has, and we know why. It's a cause and effect, but people are trying to get better after years of it, and indigestion, bloating, constipation, those are so common. And black seed oil, a teaspoon of black seed oil can make a difference. And we've talked about oregano and now black seed. Those are two things we've been doing since the 90s, before it was like very popular. And we have a number of formulas that actually incorporate both because we do believe those two are the top herbs that everyone needs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, talk a little bit about your olive leaf formula with
Oh, yeah.
oregano oil.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, we recently started to do a formula that incorporates olive leaf extract and oregano oil together. And the interesting thing about olive leaf, it's actually a fruit tree, the olive tree. And so this is actually in the Bible, it talks about using the leaves of the trees for the healing of the nations. And it's actually been scientifically researched that olive leaf is the most powerful fruit leaf you can use for the body. And so, and it also supports autoimmune situations. So it can be paired very nicely with the black seed oil as a more packaged autoimmune support. It's very good for inflammation. It's very good for adjusting the immune system versus like attacking it directly. And olive leaf is, of course, good for respiratory support as well, but it's really for the sensitive folks. And I would say, too, the olive leaf extract that we use is a little bit more concentrated than just the one-to-one, just crushing leaf into a powder. So you're going to get more of those active compounds, like the oleuropein, which is found in olive oil, but it's in higher concentrations in the leaf of the olive.
I have a question for you. Why do you think women are more susceptible to autoimmune diseases than men?
I don't know. Now, to be honest,
Okay.
it's a very good question. Women are more susceptible to a number of things, migraine headaches, and also thyroid
Hmm.
deficiencies, whereas men are more susceptible to heart issues and dying earlier in general. So I guess it's a trade-off. Genetically, we know that women are built differently,
Yeah.
and also you are more efficient. You don't require as much of certain nutrients. Like women don't need as much magnesium. They don't need as much omega-3s, and they don't need as much potassium as men do.
Interesting.
And and so there's is a nuance to it, but we're definitely not the same, although we are both in the human species. I'm not sure, but it certainly does. We do know that women have to be cognizant of this and be more proactive to make sure that they don't end up being part of these statistics.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that about the potassium, and I would have thought that women probably need just as much magnesium, only because of like menstrual cycles and menstruating and fertility. We know magnesium is critical for balancing the hormones, but I wouldn't have thought that we need less. So that's fascinating.
Yeah, women need about 300 plus milligrams a day. This is more of a baseline, and men need 400 plus. So men need
Mm.
about 100 milligrams more of magnesium per day. We know how important it is for the heart, and we know how many issues that men typically have with the heart. So it's something I'm always preaching for the men out there to take more. Also, ATP is something that is the energy currency of our bodies. And so to produce energy in the body, we're always saying magnesium makes us calm, but it actually produces energy. It's actually far more effective than coffee or energy drinks. And men have a big energy output. So that could be part of the reason.
That's interesting. Well, you have to talk about my favorite, oregano, and we have so many testimonies about the oregano. And recently, we had a lady come in, and she was having breathing problems, respiratory problems. She said, "I've tried several things. What should I try?" I go, "Well, try the oregano."
Mhm.
So she comes back about 5 days later, and she says, "That stuff is great. It took 3 days and like everything's gone. My breathing's good. The mucus is gone. I mean, it totally cleared her lungs up in 3 days." And she'll be a buyer forever of that product. But can you like explain why that's so powerful? Because it has a lot of different things that are multiplied in the product itself that make it really strong.
Yeah, it's a very unique product on the marketplace. I have my own personal jar here that I also rely on. And I sometimes just like to smell it. It's the dominating smell. We have over 300 products, but this is what our warehouse smells like, takes over. And the reason why, I guess let's talk about the potency first, and then I'll talk about the formula. The reason why it's so strong is because what we did is instead of doing like a oregano oil where you have an olive oil carrier and then you have the oregano, this has no olive oil, this has no carrier. So we're starting with 100% spice oils, essential oils, and then we're concentrating or drying that into a spice oil powder that's very concentrated. So we've said one capsule is like 50 drops of the oregano oil. And so this is more of a heavy duty kind of deal. But when you are in the middle of it, that's exactly what you need. And so the formula is also part of that potency because there's no shortage of essential oils and spices in this world. We've been, fortunately, that's been something the creator has given us a lot of. But what we did is we did a study and we wanted to see what are the most effective and potent spice oils of all time. What are the greatest ones? So we did testing in our earlier days and we threw a lot of things. This is probably too spicy for YouTube, but we threw all of the different problems that, like whether different bacterias, different viruses, different infectious agents, and we tested every spice oil, and we wanted to see how quickly does it overcome it, and how much time. So how much time does it do it? How effective it is. And to summarize this all for you, we found 5 spice oils that were the most potent in the studies and the most effective, and they were oregano, of course. We were going to think that. The oregano, cumin is just amazing. And then also we found that sage, ginger, and cinnamon. People are surprised by that one, but cinnamon is very potent if it's high quality. And so we use those 5, and that deals with microbial balance. Things like cumin and oregano help us to expel and get things out of and help us to breathe better, open up the smooth muscles in our airways of our lungs. And then you've got inflammation support, big time. And then you've got antioxidant, which is natural cell and tissue repair and organ support. And so that's the starring cast. So you've got the top 5 spices in very concentrated form going to work for you.
Could you explain to the listening audience, because when you hear like, oh wow, this is as potent as 50 drops of oregano, um, there's a lot of misinformation out there that well, oregano can be detrimental to your microbiome, but not with the P73. Could you elaborate on that for the
Yeah.
listening audience?
Yes, I can. So we've all some of us that know oregano, we've heard of the compound carbacrol, and that compound has been studied for a lot of the aggressive support that you need from this botanical, from this herb. But there are many other different constituents or compounds in oregano. If you have multiple species, you have a more active profile of those other compounds, so they help to balance it out. One thing you don't want is too much carbacrol. That becomes too aggressive on the body. That's when you start to have more die-off in the gut, and it starts to have more of almost like a conventional antibiotic type of problem, where now you've got to, support the gut flora, get probiotics in and all that. Also, another problem why all other brands except for us say you can only use it for 2 to 4 weeks and then you have to cycle off is because there's a compound called thymol. And when that compound is too high, really anything over 3%, it becomes a situation where it can't be sustained long term. You don't want to continue to take it every day. At some point, it has a diminishing return. You lose your healthy gut flora. With us, the thymol is always under 1%. Some of the lowest thymol content you can find, I think, that we've ever tested. And we've tested other brands and we've looked at their compounds. We've never found one as low as ours for thymol. So that's peace of mind for people out there. And then also carbacrol should never go over 84%, really over 80%. And if you do, it becomes too much of a good thing. you've already got 80%, you don't need more. Nature sets those parameters because it knows what's best. So to answer your question, because we use the different species, we have all these extra compounds that are balancing out the carbacrol because we don't go too high on the carbacrol percentage. And because the thymol is under 1%, that actually allows for the body to actually receive it and it's way more intelligent where there's not so much die off going on. Now, there are scenarios, even with our natural practitioner brand, where somebody has something very serious going on, more akin to like a candida or a Lyme or a long-term protocol where they need to take a lot more. And even then, we've seen people take, something like half a dropper of our super strength, which is nearly 3 times as potent, and then do that, daily or even twice daily for months. And even then, those people have been fine and actually end up doing well. But we may say, hey, take your oregano during the day, take a probiotic in the evening, because we would argue you need the fermented foods. You need to supplement with your probiotics anyway. If you're not, if you have that, you can even go up much higher in how much you're using. I know I personally have taken large amounts, and we haven't, and many of us have here in the company, and we have not been afraid to do so, or really had any kind of problems with it.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I I can't remember if I'm just thinking that it does or maybe it truly does. But isn't there a frequency that oregano
Hmm.
contains that helps protect your body against negative frequencies?
What are you talking about?
Am
No,
I
I'm just
crazy?
kidding.
Oh,
Uh, I'm joking. Of
okay.
course.
Okay,
That's a good,
Actually,
okay.
that was a good one. You got it.
no, it's there's actually a science to the
Okay.
frequency that nature gives off, and it's
Yes.
measurable. So this isn't like, far out science, or it's real science. It's physically measurable, and you can, a living organism gives off a frequency, you, me, everybody else. And when you are in a sick state or in a disease state, that frequency is much lower.
Mhm.
When you are very healthy, the frequency is much higher. We are electrical beings. We have electrical signaling going on. This causes vibration and frequency. This is measurable in hertz. Hertz. They
Yeah.
usually look at hertz. And oregano has been shown to be one of the higher um, agents with hertz energy. Not the very highest, but in, I would say, the top 10 of all herbs and botanicals that are measured. And one time at a trade show, we had a lady that brought, I forget what the actual measurement device is called, but she had it with her, and she was going around to different booths, and I guess she's been doing this for a while. And she's like, I don't want to talk right now. This is just a thing that I do. Don't mind me. I just want to measure what's going on. And she didn't seem to be expecting very much. And then all of a sudden she's like, oh my goodness, I've never seen this before. Like, what's going on? And she's like, your products, they have so much, they're very high frequency. And she was shocked. And we do things raw, we get it from the mountains, things that we don't process things so much. And so the frequency is higher and therefore more beneficial. By the way, rose has been measured to be the highest frequency, over 400 hertz of energy. And so people use that for things like depression and even just lifting your mood.
Well, yeah, the rose water, you can use that and it's supposed to help your frequency and your energy.
I think it does. I mean, I do feel, I pour it in my water to kind of stretch it out, and I drink it, and I feel relaxed. I feel, less stressed than before I took that sip, and my mood picks up, right? So
Don't
there's
you
something.
guys have rose oil?
We have a rose water. Yeah. Well,
Okay,
we
yeah.
have a
We need to
water
bring that in,
extract.
Michael.
The rose water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I've
can
never
put it,
tried it, so I'd like to try it.
it's amazing. It's actually a rose. It's called the Damascene rose, and it's a rare species that we get from Lebanon. Hopefully, we can continue to source it. But yeah, it's quite amazing. You can put it topically. Some people use it as an eye wash. You can put it in bath water. You can put it in your diffuser and be breathing it in. I just like to drink it.
Well, I did the diffuser with your Oregaresp oil, and I love the smell of it,
Mm.
but to help purify the air. But
Yeah, we always
anyways,
say our warehouse employees, they get all the health benefits because they're breathing it in all day long back there.
We can always tell when we get a new shipment of the Oregaris because you can like smell it. Like it comes right out of a box and they're not open. The bottles aren't open, they're sealed. And you can
That's the power of
smell
the
it.
mountains right there.
I mean, it's like
Absolutely.
amazing. And when you put it on the shelf, you can still smell it.
And you notice you go to like a grocery store to get like some oregano or get something that's, an Italian herb blend or something,
Mhm.
and it's like dead, there's no
hmm
smell. It's like who knows how old it is or what they did getting it across the border. So I always like to say this is on a steroid. What we do is far beyond, and you can smell, feel, and taste it. So
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and the frequency is there because yesterday's show we were talking about EMF and frequency and all of that. And I think I remember a show, it was years ago, talking about the frequency of oregano, specifically the P73, and that it was extremely high. And so when you take that, it can potentially help your frequency.
Well, your heart emits an electromagnetic field, which is measurable. And that field is constantly being affected by anything, even just being next to another person, that their field doesn't match yours, and you're going to notice something's going on. But even just the 5G towers or walking in the airport through a scanner, being close to a Wi-Fi router, having your phone in your pocket all day long, right? So we have things in our world today that we never had to deal with, which are disrupting that natural field. So everything from grounding bare feet to, and maybe put some oregano on the bottoms of your feet first, and having those spice oils do have help to raise the frequency for us.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have a customer that comes in, and every time she comes in, she wants a heart hug.
Mm,
Because your heart, are supposed to be touching and help regulate one another. But yeah,
yeah,
we always promote, we give out free hugs at Montana Harvest.
there you
It's good
go.
for your health and your frequency.
Free of charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to claim that. Come to Montana Harvest and get a heart hug.
Yeah. Well, if we're taking these products that help up our frequency, people can,
We're electrified.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
There
good
you
to be
go.
electrified. It means you're alive.
That's right. That's
What
another
it,
way of looking at health. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. What is unique? We did bring in your magnesium, by the way. But for the listening audience, I don't think we've discussed it since we've brought it in. And it's the purely magnesium, right?
Yeah, yeah, we call it Purely Men. It's got the three top forms of magnesium. It is a electrolyte, so that's a good segue. It's very needed by us. I would argue the most important mineral you could be getting. We mentioned how much people need, women over 300 milligrams, men over 400. And sadly, we're just not getting enough in our foods anymore. I like to use the Popeye example. Like when he was taking that spinach 100 years ago, and it's based on a real character. I don't know if you guys know, but it's really based on a real guy. But anyway, he was getting a lot more iron and magnesium and nutriture in people eating spinach 100 years ago than what they get today. And no one's eating more spinach today. So, pumpkin seeds, I believe, are the number one food source that you can get. And a lot of people don't eat those. So supplementation almost becomes necessary, but you don't want to take the wrong forms. So some of the forms can be very hard to absorb or can cause you to have the runs in the bathroom. So we use glycinate, taurate, and threonate. And those are the big three that we found to be the best all around.
Awesome. And can I ask what the source is? Because a lot of people are aware that magnesium can be a byproduct, and a lot of it can come from China.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is elemental. It does not come from China. It is elemental as a source. And the thing with magnesium too is you have to have it bonded to some kind of amino acid. So you can't just like scrape magnesium off of a rock and use that. But it is not a China source. I can assure you of that. I don't actually know the exact country of origin
Okay.
without looking, but I know it's not China because by kind of we as a rule we don't source from there. Um, but it is all natural, and that's very important to us, that we do keep our nutrients that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And does Miss Judy Gray, is she still very active with the?
Yeah, yeah. I was in a meeting with her earlier this morning, and as I said, she was in Turkey not even a year ago, so she's still traveling. Even I don't think I think it's her identity. I don't think I see her doing anything else, and she truly practices what she preaches. I mean, she takes our whole food, nutrients. She takes the magnesium. She's taking oregano practically every day. And I think, you hear that thing too, like when people retire, they kind of just fall apart and their lifespan is affected by that. So she's always been the type to do something, have something to do. And frankly, we need her. We need her expertise. She knows things that no one else does. She's our master formulator. She's the brains behind the operation, and she's fortunately very much involved today.
And didn't she work at a cancer clinic before starting
Yeah,
North American?
I think that was an important experience that she had. So she actually is one of the few supplement owners that has their master's degree in nutrition. And one of her earlier career things was she worked for Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and in the late 80s and early 90s. And she was in charge of their, nutrient and supplement program for patients. And at that time, she realized that there wasn't a lot of great choices in terms of real whole food nutrients, supplements without additives. Oregano oil as an edible product didn't exist at that point. So she really changed the industry. It all started with oregano, but she started to fill in the gaps of things that she saw that weren't available at her time when she was there. And she was already in her 40s when she started this business over 30 years ago.
Well, I think one of the big ones and the one that she promotes and promoted because of what she saw from the cancer clinics is the oregano juice
Yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
power behind that. I don't think that one gets shine, doesn't get put on the pedestal like the oregano, the P73, but I mean, one, it's cost effective and the power behind the oregano juice.
Yes. And, we're not saying that anything cures cancer. We'll let people do their own research. But,
Yeah.
it is true. There is research that shows that cancer doesn't thrive in an oxygen rich environment, but it does thrive in a oxygen depleted environment. And what these hydrosols do, the juice of oregano, and even the rose one that we just brought up, they're very oxygen rich. And so they're putting oxygen back into the bloodstream, back into the body, back into the lungs, back into across the blood-brain barrier. And in a water-soluble form, you're taking the herb, in this case, oregano, you're taking the compounds, carvacrol, thymol, the things we mentioned, even rosmarinic acid, some of these things, and with their health properties, but it's bonded to H2O. So now it's easier for the body to absorb. It's much more fat. It's a lot more rapid acting. The oil takes some time because it's a fat to work. So let's say you start a real world example, you start having coughing, started feeling sniffling, sore throat, and you've got this phlegm and stuff and you're congested. You can take oregano juice right away and it can start working right away. I would take the oil with it, but it's going to put oxygen back into your body. It's going to support your immune system function. We do know people that had lumps and things on their throats, thyroid problems, enlarged. And we had, in fact, the reason we found out about this is through our conversation with the villagers in Turkey, where they said, you know what? The villagers said, this is what we take every day. We said, we take the oil when we need something stronger, but we take this as a daily maintenance. And we take this water extract, and no one else is doing it. We are the only ones. And we do it for oregano, sage, rosemary, rose, and I love it because I feel like I can breathe better. I feel it in my chest when I take it, like a cooling sensation. I just add some to my water, just enhances it. Um, you can put it in your diffuser, like we talked about as well.
Do you find that it restructures your water?
Mm. Well, we haven't run testing on that, um, but I would imagine it does help the water, and a lot of water, if it's overly filtered, is, missing some of the key things, and you're going to get those plant compounds put back in. and you're going to get some additional oxygen. So it can only enhance the water quality.
Well, I'm excited to bring in the rose water that you guys have.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why we haven't had it. I mean, that's a good
Yeah, I've
question.
never heard that you carried it.
We
I
have
guess,
there's so many things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
but that's exciting. And how much rose water would you recommend people to take? And can they take it daily?
Oh, they can take it every day. It's not a problem. They can take it as much as they want. Knock yourself out. Maybe when you're first taking it, if you're really stressed or if you're taking it for a specific need, getting your frequency up, you may do more. I do about a tablespoon a day in water, maybe more on certain days, honestly, where I feel more stressed or more challenged. But I do think daily is the way to go. With it, and it's much better than just drinking plain water, right? It's just going to give you so much more out of that. So you already drink water every day anyway. How easy is it just to add a little bit into your water?
Yeah, that's exciting. Do you personally take the oregano every day as well?
I take it every week. I don't take it every single day. I take a lot of things.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I take my nutrients every day because like the body has to have those every single day. And then I'll take oregano more like maintenance, and it will either be oregano oil or it will be this. But I always make sure that I do have, especially if I know, even if I'm not sick, right? Like if people around me are, I mean, you guys are in a health food store, you have people, you're on the front lines. So it's good to, if you're in a school or if you work anywhere in the public and retail, it's just good to be proactive and have that at least on a couple of times a week, even if you're already healthy.
Awesome. Well, we only have about 2 minutes left. I don't know if you have anything specific, Michael, that you want to touch on before we run out of time.
Hey, we just wanted to give a heads up for Jonathan because he takes good care of us all the time.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm going to make sure he gets that message because he's a good guy and I know he cares. He's been with us for about almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we do a lot of our orderings with him, and look, he always bends over backwards and goes the extra mile. And he's just a really good guy to be working with. So I wanted to make sure he got some kudos because he takes good care of us.
Great. Thank you so much for that feedback. So I guess we'll keep him around a little longer.
Yeah, well, at least let us get our other order in,
Sounds good.
Well, I think that's the basis of North American Herb & Spices. They're an excellent company. We can stand behind them. We have a whole end cap in our store promoting your guys' line. I don't think that there's another company that we have blocked off with just displaying all of their products in one location other than North American Herb & Spice. Everything else is categorized by detox minerals and what it does for the body in store, but your company is blocked off by the brand.
Yeah,
Well, we're honored by that.
Dr. Ingram, he put the pressure on us to buy stuff, and then we tell him. He goes, I told you it worked. So he was really instrumental in creating that.
Yeah.
Dr. Oregano, as he was known. Yes.
Yeah.
Funny story was, I was talking to him, he was doing droppers of oregano oil. He goes, yeah, I'm on my 5th one now. And I go, what? You're going to die, man. He goes, no, I'm used to it. So anyway, I tried doing a whole dropper myself. I thought I was going to die.
But you're still very much here.
But I actually got up to like a couple of them a day.
Yeah,
Well,
you got
I
to
don't do
develop
that
a
now,
tolerance.
Yeah.
He had the most tolerance, I think, and that's why I always laugh when people say, am I taking too much? Because I think about Dr. Ingram and he'll take, droppers full with no water, just straight up.
Yeah. He was greatly loved by Montana Harvest. He was quite a character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be
Thank you for
back
having
on
me.
next week. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks,
Take
man.
care.
It's good to see you again.
You too. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
You're listening to the Let's Stay Healthy radio show, sponsored and brought to you by Montana Harvest Natural Food Store in Billings, Montana.